Start. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. So I'm delighted to be moderating today's webinar, and I would like to warmly thank our speakers for accepting our invitation today, and also for everyone who is joining us. So for those who don't know me, my name is Fatin Mhaddab. I am a Tunisian journalist, PhD researcher at Sorbonne University here in Paris, and a member of steering committee of the Aeromed AI network. So I would like just to say that as journalism is something I care deeply about, it's my pleasure to co-organize this discussion on generative AI in journalism in the Southern Mediterranean countries. Today we have four speakers with us. We'll explore this from both professional and academic perspective. We will start with Saja Mortada. She is with us today, Arab Fact Checkers Network Manager led by Arij, who will present Arij's strategy and on AI and also on how investigation can move towards responsible AI adoption. Then we have Ahmed Asmat with us, lecturer at American University in Cairo, medtech, and digital transformation consultant, and he will share AUC's experience with AI in journalism and newsroom innovation. Next, we will, of course, continue with Anas Dreef, senior media and disinformation expert. Anas will address AI ethics and its impact on newsrooms, including questions on verification, bias, accountability, and editorial standards. Finally, with Hairo Logo Akando, Dean of College of Communication, University of Sharqa, will present the university's approach to teaching AI to future journalists in changing also media environments. So this webinar is also an opportunity to open wider conversation around K questions. So everyone here with us, if you want, of course, to share experience or to ask, you are welcome. Each speaker will have just 15 minutes and then 5 minutes for feedback, comments, and also questions. And I kindly ask everyone in the audience just to mute or to keep microphones muted while people or whilst our speakers present. And I think everything now is clear. Maybe we can start with you, Saja, if you are ready.
Hello, everyone. First of all, thank you so much for Euromed AI for having me with them today. I am very delighted to be with you and to be sharing the experience of Arij in integrating AI within its workflow and supporting media organizations and fact-checking organizations and using AI effectively in their work. And just if you can allow me to start with paying paying tribute to all journalists killed in Lebanon and in Palestine and Gaza, just because they are covering the truth and covering the war happening. And of course, saluting all journalists who are still till now working despite all the challenges, and all the threats they are facing in Lebanon and in Palestine. I will now just share my screen.
Okay.
I'm Saja Murtada. I'm the manager of the Arab Fact Checkers Network, AFCN, which is part of Arij, Arab Reporters for Investigative Journalism. And I am an investigative journalist and fact checker who hold a master's degree in media and communication. Just for who that don't know Arij very well, we are the leading organization on investigative journalism and fact-checking in the Arab world. We cover the whole Arab-speaking countries. We are based in Amman, Jordan, but we cover the whole MENA region, and our approach mainly is networking, empowerment, safety, and innovation, as we support a huge community of investigative journalists and fact-checkers in the region. Using AI for an organization like Arij, a medium size organization who works in a very complicated environment, media environment, political environment, geopolitical environment in the MENA region is very important for us. And it means that we are trying to embrace innovation and support our work as much as we can and find new ways to connect, to sustain, and to scale our work and our network and try to be resilient and sustainable in the middle of all this chaos we are living in and we all with all these challenges we are facing. And of course, it's to work towards going beyond business as usual in journalism and fact checking, to try to find new formats, new ways of work, to try to get rid of all wasting time and like tasks we do in our work and try to go deeper in investigations and in new formats to present our work. And our journey actually started since 2021, the journey of using AI in our work and in our organization. It was early 2021 when we participated in the first AI in Journalism Academy with London School of Economics Policy LSE team. And then in 2022, we won the Google Challenge to develop our AI strategy for our organization. And this is what we did when we launched the strategy in 2023, after a year and a half of work with experts and with our team. And then we launched the ethical guide for using AI. And we participated in the first AI fellowship with Policy LSE. And we started developing our tools and Arabizing some tools to support our community. In 2024, we went more through capacity building for the community on AI. So we do the first academy on AI in Arabic language for media organizations. We did lots of people. And in 2025, we developed more capacity on AI and we on a large scale. And this is what I will explain now. These are some pictures from different AI activities related we did in the last few years, focusing on methodologies, focusing on tools, focusing on ethics, focusing on strategically also thinking and building towards the integration of AI in our work. And to dive deeper in this journey, we were selected for the first AI Academy for small newsrooms in 2021. And it was actually before ChatGPT and before the huge discussions about AI that started in 2022 with the launch of ChatGPT. Then the first step was that we need to be very strategic in thinking on how we can use AI. We can't just using it randomly. So the Google Innovation Challenge was an opportunity for us when we applied that we want to develop our own strategy and that we won this challenge and we started working on this strategy. And to actually have an effective strategy, we need a team, a strong team that actually knows what is AI and how can use AI. So the first thing was capacity building for our own team, the small team of Arish. And we did a lot of training for them, we did a lot of discussions with them to be able to build actually this strategy. These efforts were highlighted by Google and at the Journalism Festival in April 2023, when we discussed how between 2021 and 2023, we tried as much as we can to understand how AI works and how we can actually benefit from it in our journalism and our work. In April 2023, we have the launch of our fact-checking chatbot. This chatbot actually allows anyone around the world in Arabic language to send any claim to be fact-checked. If it's already fact-checked, the chatbot will receive directly, the user will receive directly actually the fact-checking by AI. And if it's not, it will go to a group of fact-checkers who will work on it and send back to the user the fact checking. And this chatbot allows us actually to having the general audience part of the fact checking process. So, and learn about the importance of fact checking and taking part of it. This chatbot is very easy to use, and since 2023 until today, we have actually plus 8,000 new user, and we have plus 5,000 recurrent users who always come to the chatbot to fact check information. Of course, we had a lot of steps towards this objective. That was, we need to integrate AI within our work. So we launched our strategy, as I said, in December 2023, our AI strategy. I will send the link in the chat. And this strategy actually wasn't just for us, for our organization. It was important for us to have a clear action plan to use AI, but the objective was also to benefit other small to medium media organizations in the region, to have something where they can start with in integrating AI. So this strategy maps how AI can be actually applied within the newsroom in terms of production, gathering, and distribution of content. So it was like a practical roadmap for integrating AI within media organizations. It offers also a strategic framework and implementation steps, how the organization can actually identify challenges, setting the goals of using AI, and having a team that can actually play a role in this integration, and developing a clear action plan for adoption of AI in journalism. Of course, in this strategy, we have also an AI maturity assessment model that can help classifying organizations into the stages they are in when in AI, if they are still in the learning stage, if they are in the experimenting stage, or if they are actually transforming their journalistic work by using AI. Of course, the ethics and the risks and the governance was a very important part of the strategy. And we also focused on training and awareness, and how we can develop tools in Arabic language and localized tools in Arabic language, not start actually from scratch in everything. This strategy actually helped and is still helping media organizations in adopting AI, because it's like a ready-to-use roadmap for them. It's a practical reference for them to be able to adopt AI with time. Of course, we focused also in the strategy on the idea that we use AI as a supporter, and AI is not going to replace us. Actually, AI is helping us in automating repetitive tasks, allowing us to focus on more in-depth and investigative reporting, and this is actually what we need today. Of course, this strategy also supports and helps media organizations in decision-making on AI adoption, to understand more their challenges, their capabilities, and to prioritize actually what they need from AI and how they can have a realistic action plan. Of course, it focuses also on strengthening ethical and responsible journalism, and in addressing the gaps that we have in the region when it comes to AI and Arabic language and tools and all of that. After having this strategy and communicating with media organizations, we started actually supporting some media organizations in building their own tools or in localizing their tools. So we supported, for example, Rasif 22 in integrating AI to develop their automated Arabic language podcast, Rasif As-Sama. And it was a great experience because it was a learning one. So it was coaching, learning, seeing the results, testing, developing more, and helping them also to talk to other media organizations and sharing knowledge with them about AI and how they build this work. And also we worked with Full Fact in the UK in Arabizing their tool that helps in monitoring claims and prioritize claims for fact checking. And actually, these tools benefited 25 plus fact checking organizations in the region, and it was a very great experience because it supported us in like not starting from scratch, but we have something that we can build in. It helped us with the resources. It helped us with understanding how other organizations are working and how we can actually learn from them. So we worked on the data annotation, data translation. We added new features to the tools for our community. And of course, we focused on training and coaching for the organizations to be able to use these tools. In 2024, we started noticing that a lot of challenges are rising because of the use of AI. So we developed our internal AI ethical guidelines that our team actually adhere to, and we started raising a lot of awareness on AI ethical use because we started to noticing the bias, we started to noticing the misinformation spreading by AI, we started to noticing how we are actually how media organizations and journalists are starting to use AI very randomly, and they are losing the human sense in journalism. So this ethical guidelines helped us a lot, and we focused on it in a lot of capacity building activities like the journalism AI discovery course in Arabic language that benefited 3,000 plus journalists and fact checkers and researchers in the Arab world. And it was in collaboration with Police LSE and Google News Initiative. And we did the Journalism AI Academy for small newsrooms in Arabic language. It was the first academy of its kind in the Arab world. And we did a second version of the discovery course also because raising AI literacy is very important at this stage. So media organizations, journalists, fact checkers can actually know how to use it and know how to benefit from it and know how to use it effectively. Also to be able to control a bit the challenges that are raising because of using AI. So we are still doing a lot of AI literacy activities for investigative journalists and our community. And in 2025 actually was a very important year because it was a huge sharing of AI literacy. We did a TOT, a training of trainers for a group of journalists and fact checkers who went to more than 12 Arab countries and trained in person in universities and media organizations and NGOs on the use of AI effectively and ethically. These are pictures from the in-person training we had all over the 2025 year, and we reached like more than 3,000 person, and we trained in a lot of countries. We trained in Mauritania, in Morocco, in Tunisia, in Libya, in Egypt, in Turkey, in Syria, in Iraq, Lebanon, Palestine, Jordan, Yemen, even in Uganda and Kenya for the Sudanese journalists and community living there. Of course, all of that wasn't possible without collaboration. And this is what we did since the start of our journey. We learned from other people. We see what other people is doing. We communicated with them. We learned from their experiences. We collaborated with them. We collaborated with Full Fact, with Google, with Police LSE, with IMS, with DW, with ABC in Australia, with Maldita in Spain, with Fathom in the UK. All of them were like partners for us in this journey in integrating AI within our work and supporting media organizations and journalists and fact checkers in the region in integrating AI. And we learned a lot from this journey. We learned that successful AI adoption is actually not possible without collaboration, without not just between journalists themselves, but between journalists and technologists and researchers and between organizations in different regions. And of course, we learned that it's very important to invest time and effort in training and literacy for our community to be able to use AI effectively. And finally, this year and beyond, our focus is not just on more AI literacy, but our focus is on investigating AI systems. So we developed our own strategy in investigating AI systems and harm, because this is very important And we are working towards more AI integration. And of course, always the ethical use of AI is our priority and will always be our priority. So our mission was to make AI used by our community, by journalists, by fact checkers effectively. But the vision actually is how we can, through AI, by AI, empowers truth and transparency and ethical journalism, because we are noticing a lot of challenges that might have a very big harm in societies in the future. And finally, I would love to invite you all to register to attend our annual forum in the Dead Sea this year in Jordan from the 4th to the 6th of December. And the theme this year is Stories with Impact, where we always will also focus on AI impact and how we use AI to have more impact in our investigative journalism and fact-checking work. And thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Saja. Really very interesting. And I would like just to thank you for that insightful overview. You've clearly outlined how Ari's strategy and how Ari's approaching AI in investigative journalism and also in ethics and in responsible way, let's say. So this is very important, especially when we talk about collaboration and when we talk also how to use AI, not just AI to replace us, but as a supporter. This is very important. And the way how you share it with the trainers, with also a trainer, and with many people around the Arab worlds, Arab countries. So this is very interesting. I don't know if there is questions. For we have just 5 minutes for the audience. If you have questions, if you have, you can raise your hand. You can write in the chat. Feel free. If you have a comment, you can write it. And Arij is here, and also Saja is here. Okay, maybe we haven't, but also you are able and free, of course, if you want to write something. Saja is sharing with us the link, and you are here all in the session. And if you want to write your answers, or sorry, you write your comments, you are here. So maybe we can start or continue with Ahmed. Ahmed, you are ready?
Yes,
Okay, very nice. So the floor is
surely.
yours. Okay.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me. Thank you, Fatah and Muhammad, for the kind invitation. Wishing you all the best with your Euromed AI network. Yeah, I'm here now wearing my academic hat. People are usually attending sessions like or supporting when it comes to the practical thing, but nowadays or now, I'll be talking about the academic work I'm doing. I'm proud of both, but and I think that both are complementing each other. Um, as one of the team of the Kamal Adham Center in the School of Global Affairs and Public Policy in the American University in Cairo, I was lucky enough to work on curating the Artificial Intelligence Journalism Diploma in the university. The diploma we just launched the first cohort. It's an extensive accredited diploma. We have been working on it for like a year and a half now. And we are providing like 5 topics. Diploma is providing concepts and applications for non-technical professionals in journalism, media, and entertainment. It combines theoretical foundation with hands-on application to help separate myth from reality and leverage AI to enhance news production, content creation, and organizational efficiency. Actually, I'm more focusing on the strategic level when it comes to applying AI in newsrooms. From my background, my thesis covered digital transformation for the media and entertainment industry, and in specific, innovation and using new technologies. So AI was a crucial part of what I used to do since 2018 or something. Whether it was like fact checking or verification, as I belong to one of the biggest or the biggest networks of assessors in the world. I belong to one of them. Um, Also, when it comes to working with machine learning towards AI governance, or what I prefer to call responsible AI. So this is a brief on my background when it comes to AI. The course I'm providing is about AI strategies in newsroom. It helps equipping attendees with practical frameworks for designing and implementing AI-driven strategies that scale and modernize digital newsrooms. Actually, I'm not here to read like what you can find on the website. I provide the link later on. But I just want to say that when it comes to AI strategy, it is the cornerstone before starting or doing anything. And it all starts with AI readiness or assessing our capabilities um, when we want to apply or utilize AI in our newsrooms. We are having several ways of assessing our readiness, or whether you need to use a ready-made one or in a specific one. I always prefer the Microsoft assessment tool because it covers the both technical and human resources ones, and it's the most comprehensive, and it provides a huge, or actually a complete picture of what our organizations are standing for. In the Arab world, we are having two or three prominent organizations or already working with AI and applying the concepts within their newsrooms. We are having a Nahar in Lebanon. We are having a Masr Yom in Egypt. Both of them are belong to the Financial Times initiative, and both of them are like achieving huge success. And I suggest or advise you to look and check in what they are doing nowadays. Actually, the United Arab Emirates are having several newsrooms who are now applying AI in their day-to-day work. Also in Saudi Arabia, we are having several ones. Maybe things were slowed down due to the current situation, but I'm sure, and I want them to go back on track and uh, join the race again. And I'm sure they will be doing again strong things as they used to do before. Mainly, our AI strategies courses are focusing on the how and why. We are always thinking of integrating, how to integrate in AI in our day-to-day newsroom operations, in specific the workflows. We cannot go further, or we cannot move one step further without having a clear workflow of what we are doing, where we are doing it, and how we are achieving that. So developing an AI-enhanced workflows and fostering the culture of innovation and experimentation is a cornerstone of what we are doing. And actually, I'm applying that now in Lebanon with eight, as one of the coaches and mentors within a big project, working on enhancing and updating eight newsrooms in Lebanon, with another project in Kenya, working with two other newsrooms. The big question, or the big thing that we need to do before applying AI and before thinking about even having a strategy for our newsroom, is to answer the question why. Why do we need to use AI? Whether it will benefit our work or not. This is a big question, and I'm always asking people to answer or to reply to this question before starting or going further with or proceeding with our AI strategy, building their own AI strategy. The course is mainly focusing on analyzing operational requirements to identify opportunities for AI integration, suggesting appropriate AI-driven strategies and frameworks, examining the internal resistance. And here I need to stop and talk about the change management, because AI is not only about the technology, AI is mainly about the people, and we need to keep human always in the loop. Human should be always in the loop, with whether during the preparations, planning, execution, operationalizing, and before publishing everything, humans should be in the loop. We are also working on developing collaborative techniques for implementing AI solution, whether that kind of collaboration between departments inside the same or a news organization, or even collaboration between different organizations who are seeking help from others or seeking to learn from others. This is a very important thing, and this is the big thing that is going on worldwide: collaborative efforts. Utilizing AI tools, and by AI tools here, I'm mainly focusing on AI tools that we use to build strategies and data-driven strategies. Nowadays, you can simply use vibe coding to analyze your data, prepare your audience, start thinking about how you can approach different types of audience within your audience pipeline within the funnel itself. And finally, we are providing a lot of case studies from the media organizations from the MENA region, Africa, and the EU, in order to help like developing the mindset of our people in the region while working with it. Again, we just started our first cohort. Our second cohort will be announced soon. I'll drop the link for the application in the chat box. I'm here. I'm all yours. Feel free to ask me as much questions as you can. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ahmed. It's very interesting, and especially sharing these perspectives, it's very valuable also to hear about the practical experience from American University in Cairo, especially how AI is being integrated into journalism, education, and newsroom innovation. So also I like so much your examples really highlight how digital transformation not just theoretical but already reshaping how journalism is produced and also taught. So maybe if you have comments, and I think you shared with us also the links, so thank you so much.
Yes.
Maybe we can keep the comments and the questions after all speakers, and we can go with you, Anas. Are you ready?
Just give me a few seconds so that I can share my
Yeah,
presentation.
for sure. You have all the time. Yes.
Where it is. Okay, let me open it. It.
Mhm.
It's visible?
We see it. Yes.
Okay, good. Let me make it bigger.
Yes. Thank you. The floor is yours. Thank
Thank you. Thanks, Fatin. Thanks to give us the opportunity to meet their colleagues online, with the hope that we are going to meet offline soon. I will keep my presentation shorter because I mean some the most important things has been said. For the sake of not being redundant, I will focus on ethics and AI in the newsrooms. Some examples that I'm going to share. I'm Anas Bandrif. I'm a media person. I worked in newsrooms as a radio journalist, and then right now I'm doing some consultancies for the EU and for other organizations, and also I'm training some fact-checking platforms in the region. So I'm glad to be here and to share with you some perspectives about AI and ethics, because I think ethics is not something that ethics should be essential in everything that we are doing, when we are producing content, when we are verifying, when we are dealing with ethics. Okay. Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon. It depends on where you are. Today, I will concentrate in the AI in the newsroom. Okay, and the question is that how newsroom can use AI without losing trust. It is about trust because everyone uses AI, and the question that should be asked is not, are you using Gemini? Are you using ChatGPT? Everyone is using it on daily basis, when drafting emails, summarizing everything. Okay, thus we are on the loop. We are using AI extensively on a daily basis. The problem when we are dealing with the AI, who remains responsible when AI is used? You can compare it. You are driving a Tesla self-driving car. You're bumped into another car. Who is to take the blame? Is it the driver? Is it the software who runs Tesla? Is the insurance company? I mean, this is some questions that can learn from. And that's why ethics, which is not related to, it is not only about transparency. This is what I know. It is about trust. Let's move to the second slide. Thus, we have to start with some uncomfortable questions in the newsroom. If an AI tool help us write a story, who earned the byline, and who carries the blame if there is like a mistake? Okay, we have some examples of, for example, I think it is the financial who came with advice to put your money in the wrong fund. Who is going to blame? Is it the AI who make this summary, or is the journalist? This is some questions that we have to be aware of. If a model summarizes your investigation, what truth is compressed out? Is it biased? Is the summary gives the full credit, the full story, etc. If audiences cannot see the tool, can they still trust the newsroom? I compare it. You are going to a restaurant and the waiter say to you, "Look, this food has been made by robots." Are you going to trust it? Yes, only if the chief of the chef in the restaurant say, I am supervising it. Just everyone use the tools, but the final judgment should be done by human. We'll move to another slide. Okay, sorry. Yes. I am in good track. It is the second slide, I think. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Okay. This AI does not enter the newsroom as one tool. This is also something that we have to be aware of. It can help gather information. We do it in a very substantial way. We can verify claims. It is something that the FCN done, that fact-checking platforms do. Producing stories. You can produce a story from A to Z with nice pictures. You can use Nano Banana to get nice footages. But every steps in the workflow from gathering information till the distribution, we have like the ethical checkpoints. When you gather information, are you sure that the tool is not biased? If you ask the Chinese AI about the Communist Party, are you sure that it will give you the whole story? Yeah, even there are like some researches done by the EU, I think by UN Women. When you ask ChatGPT to give you, for example, a picture of a leader, 60% they will give you male and not give you women as leaders. Because even this tool, this technology is being biased against women. Just what we have to be aware of what we call the checkpoints, the ethical checkpoints. It is about the workflow. It is not about the tool. It is not about, yes, I use AI to make a summary, or I use this tool to generate a picture or to clean the data. It is a workflow. Yeah. We'll move to another. Okay, this. There are a lot of research done. Okay, not so much related to the Arabic newsrooms, because I mean we are like in baby steps. But you can see that all the research is done so far. The key point is the audience trust. Yeah, just the journalism in general does not rely on technology. Yeah, it runs on trust. If there is no trust, there is no journalism. It is like we are going back to the essence of media, essence of journalism. The people has to trust you. I mean, if you are a liar, people they will. I mean, I do remember here in the Netherlands, in the Dutch newsroom, an anchor has to have like two main characteristics when he's going to distribute the news: integrity and likability. If he's cheating on his wife, he will not be considered as someone who is telling the truth, even in a Dutch let's say ecosystem, which is like very very liberal. But this is something that's very important. It is about trust, not about technology. The lesson here is very simple. The more automated journalism feels, the more visible human judgments must become. Humans, it is about humans. The first place, it is about a human. The second place, it is about a human also in the third place. Those people do not only want content, they want to know someone checked it. Someone has to be in the newsroom It should be has a name, not a title. Okay, Anas Bandarif is the one responsible, for example, for editing this version. We need names. We don't need titles in the newsrooms. Let me move to the other slide. The generalist is very central, as you see from this slide. Okay, well, here you can see a scala of things that we are to take aware of. But the impact is not just faster journalism. Speed is very important. Just imagine we are at it is 5:30 in the afternoon. The reporter is late. The editor is needs to go, and we have to make a story because it is very important. And when we decided in a newsroom, let's ask ChatGPT to make a story, and then we can verify it quickly, and then we put it. Sure. What if there is a mistake? Yeah, the speed is playing an important role. There's the scale also of producing, and this makes let's say the business model very shaky. Yeah, and the platforms are the one now who will be decide who we can see and what we can't see, and the risk that we have here is we will have many errors. We'll have a lot of cheap fake, and will have a lot of privacy leaks. Just to give you an example from investigation, since we have also some experts here in the room about investigation. You listen to a story of a victim, you report it, and you put this story, okay, of this victim. Well, you are a journalist, you need to protect him or protect her, and you put it in a chat GPT to make a summary in a tool that you don't know, okay, if it will be leaked or not. It is about judgment. It is about self-reflection. It is about ethics in general. Dus the decision gate in general should be put before publishing. Dus what in another words, you have to have like a checklist when you are like producing a story. Yeah. What is the purpose of using AI? Ahmed put it, the why questions. Why? Okay, to make us irrelevant. If we are like 10 people in the newsroom, and also we have also to build start when you start this process. Maybe we can say we'll end up at the end of the process with 5 people, not with 10. Are you ready to go to this journey so that you can get rid of you, okay, at the final of the pitch? This is something also to be considered when we are trying to put news, let's say AI in the heart of our work. Or you can do it. We can look for another strategy. You see, we are 10 people. Okay, we are working in a newsroom. Okay, we are going to make an assessment and to use AI heavily, and we will design people who are going to be like a gatekeeper, okay, for these ethical checkpoints. We will remain 10 people, but instead of producing 5, we will produce 50. Or or we are going to outsource our SEO model, okay, to a machine learning. We are not relying on human. This is something also. It depends on the model, depends on the ethics. It depends on or how you are selling the project to your colleague and to your newsroom. I repeat also what Ahmed said. It is about what is the editorial problem that we are solving. Yeah? If we are putting ChatGPT or putting Nano Banana, or are using cloud, for example, to clean the data that we have, or to work on the Excel list. If the question is no, we are not ready. Who could be harmed if the output is wrong? We can be wrong, for example, about let's say about a football game. Yeah, but what if it is about vulnerable communities? If it is about a victim? Can every claim to be traced to verified source? Core business of media, of journalism, a source, al-an'ana. Okay, that we learned from traditions, from the hadith tradition. Who says what and when, and is this person is credible or not? Does the audience know to know the AI was used? Yes, but not heavily. It is okay. Transparency now. Most of the editorial newsroom are moving to this direction for the sake of transparency. Yes, we are using this, we are using that, but okay. I mean, the audience should not be involved in every detail, because they will trust you if you say Saja is the one responsible for the final editing, or Fatin or Ahmed. Which editor is accountable for the publication? It said should be named in the newsroom. Human is the loop. Okay, I repeat Ahmed Ismat nice or wisdom. It is not a slogan. It is a role design. With you design the newsroom, okay, we have to name people and to give them credits and to give them responsibility. I will go back to I'll end up with also with this metaphor of the Tesla self-driving car. Okay, someone should be responsible if the car bumped it into another car. Okay, and I think I will finish and will give the floor to the audience, and I give the floor back to you, Fatih. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anas. I'm really very pleased to hear from you. This all points and very interesting to raise those critical points. Your focus on ethics, verification, and accountability is absolutely central in this conversation. As you said, it's very important to talk that we are responsible as a journalist. It's all about ethics, but it depends on the journalist, and it depends how to use AI or ChatGPT, and it's different from using, for example, ChatGPT to write a story, or using cloud AI. And we have to be really have all the ideas how to use them, how to write a prompt, how to verify this. And this is the work of a journalist, and how he must be really careful. So I would like just to thank you again, and maybe we can go with Haru, and after that we are going to discuss all of us. Haru, are you ready? Have you something to share?
Yes, yes.
Very nice.
Saying,
Okay, you are co-host and you can share.
can you see the screen?
Yes, we see it. So the floor is yours, and best of luck.
Okay, I'll
Thank you.
just please let me know when I have 5 minutes left. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Salam alaikum, everybody, and marhaban, everybody. Hope they're safe and well in these difficult times. So I'm going to talk about journalism education in the age of AI, referring to the MENA region, because it has very specific characteristics that underline some important challenges. And I call this the enemy at the gates. And I asked myself in this presentation, what is the value of journalism in the age of AI, when it seems that AI can do so many things for us, and seems to threaten many of the routines, dynamics, and practices in normal journalism, such as, like we used to say, just to start, for example, the news agency WAM in Abu Dhabi basically got rid of most of its translators and has substituted the translation team, which was very important, with AI. And this has happened in sub editing and production, particularly as news organizations face important economic challenges. Many see AI as a way of cutting costs and making these organizations to survive. But I want to start because I think all these assumptions are, in my opinion, wrong. And I think they're wrong because we're dominated by techno-deterministic assumptions that are not new. We, in the early 20th century, we had similar discourses about the radio, the television, and now not so long ago, we were talking about meta and virtual reality, how it was completely going to change everything. And now it's AI. And I'm not diminishing AI, because when I say this, people say, oh, you don't know anything. But I would want to go back to one of my favorite books by Herbert Marcuse, part of the Frankfurt School, and it's One-Dimensional Man, and how we tend to, when this type of technological disruptions happen, we tend to get trapped into a one-dimensional perception of reality. There are not technical problems awaiting technical solutions. We don't have technical problems. We have enough food in the world. We have enough science and resources to solve the majority of problems around wars and poverty and exclusion, environment. If we really had the political will to do that as a society, we could do it tomorrow. And the best example is the war at the moment taking place, and in the case of the United States, how the amount that the United States has spent in the war could have been equivalent to giving every single U.S. citizen, giving them health, free health for everybody in the United States, or free education at the university level to everybody. So one issue with technology is that this type of technology is it brings invisibilizes the structural problems that journalism should be about and the issues that journalism should be covering. And I'm not saying that, AI is a fantastic tool to solve a lot of the issues around journalism production and productivity, allows us to proofread, edit things faster, process data. But it's not necessarily solve the fundamental problems that journalism have in the Middle East and the North African region. To start with, one of the main problems that journalists have in the region is access to sources. How do you access sources that can talk to you about the issues and problems that you're covering? Basically, if you ask any journalist, and by the way, I should say that this is part of a study that we had carried out in the past year and a half with colleagues from Saudi Arabia, Sharjah, and Qatar. And one of the things is that one of the main problems that journalists have is access to sources. And I want anybody to tell me how AI will solve that. How AI is going to solve the fact that you can't speak to a minister, or speak to the official that is responsible for the water in your community, or even a scientist in a university like mine that has to go through so many layers of permission just to speak to a journalist. AI won't solve either the over-dependency of official sources. And it won't help journalists establish authorial control over the work that they publish or they disseminate. It neither will help them to set their own agenda. Because if you cannot do the above, how can you set up your own agenda? On top of that, the reality is we have a huge numbers of journalists who lack the training, the necessary training and knowledge to use this type of tools in ways that can enhance their work. And obviously, the main problem that AI will not solve is the lack of professional autonomy, of independence in the way they can work, or the lack of robust audiences. If you're a science journalist, for example, and we work a lot with the Arab Science Forum here in Sharjah, how can you produce science stories when there is not an audience for that? Doesn't create a market that makes your work sustainable. Of course, if you are in a small digital native organization that receives international funding, you can keep publishing a lot, but who is reading your work? The fact that AI allows you to write 20 stories a day has no value if there's nobody to read it. And if there's an audiences who are not consuming this content, what's the point? And of course, the other problem is that AI doesn't neither address the limited funding and economic challenges that all journalism organizations and news organizations are facing. Many newspapers, even government newspapers, are reducing the numbers of staff, that are reducing the number. And in any case, what AI on some circumstances make these problems worse, because they're seen by media managers as a quick solution to structural problems in their media. So, we don't need any more translators. We don't need any more proofreaders. We don't need any more fact checkers, because AI will do that for us. And obviously, that might be a short solution, but the problem is that still the content generated is not relevant. So, in addition to these problems that AI is not going to solve, we now have a bigger problem for journalists, which is the emergence of, and this not the emergence, the substitution of journalists by social media influencers. And this is mostly, as I say, I'm going to try to go quicker in my slide, but that's mostly to do that in the region, those organizations, government officials who are wanting to disseminate are much more bound to the dissemination, to the size of the dissemination, to the speed of dissemination. Therefore, influencers are much better placed than journalists to disseminate. So if you're a government official, a ministry, and before you used to give advertising to the local newspapers in the MENA region, now you give this money to the influencers who have by the way, in most cases don't have training or specialization, but they have, I don't know, 100,000 followers, 200,000 followers. So why bother with the newspaper? And that means you are publishing the same stories with an influencer, and that has to do with the fact that in the region, journalism is not truly valued. And I know it's a hard reality and it's an uncomfortable reality, and that's regardless of, and I love the previous presentation before me because he highlighted something about trust, which is true. But in the region, it's not only about truth. Truth is about also the historical value that is awarded, given to journalists and journalism as political institutions in the region. And without that, well, anybody who can disseminate very quickly the messages from the press offices or from the PR offices, well, if they can do the work it's going to be cheaper and more effective to do it with them. So, what are we in journalism schools in the region expected to teach? Well, we're still expected to teach. And I laugh a little bit, with an ironic laugh in my case, because all of my bosses in the university are like, "Oh, we need AI in this, AI in the." That's not the problem. We still have to teach the students how to make things interesting. And the only way that we can teach them to make it interesting is they can contextualize the histories. But, a lot of the students are not prepared to do that. And we are trying to work on that. How do you make things accessible? And by accessible means, how can you translate complex situations into languages? And that cannot be done by AI because you are the ones who have the same symbolic and ideological codes to your community, and help to make things relevant. Now, AI can play a very important game in improving those things, but if you don't have the basics in the School of Journalism to do that, in the schools of communication to do that, then, one thing, how do you make issues accountable, and to whom? In societies that are illiberal, in societies that do not perform and do the political settings of the West. And that's a very important thing to realize. We are not, I used to work before coming here, I used to work in Northwestern University in Qatar. And the curriculum there is the same curriculum they teach in Evanston in the US. And I said, how? Why? It has nothing to do. It's a completely different realities in which journalists we navigate here. We have journalists in the region and the MENA region have a complete set of priorities, prerogatives, and functions. And that doesn't make them less journalists. And that's a very important thing because in the West, there's this assumption that you're not, if you don't contest power, you're not a journalist, which is rubbish, because most of the journalism in the United States do not contest powers. And we can see in the way they cover, for example, Gaza and the West Bank. That's not true. But anyway, that's a different discussion that goes beyond this. And the other challenge that we see in the College of Communication in Sharia is how can we teach students to create public opinion? Public opinion does not exist, contrary to what Walter Lippmann used to say. We're more in the school of John Dewey. Public opinion exists only if you create issues, if you highlight issues. Only then you can create. Public opinion doesn't exist. It can only be created by the journalist. As Benedict Anderson said, we create as journalists the imagined communities. And those imagined communities can be created in the MENA region. And so those are the things that for us here in the College of Communication in Sharjah are top priorities. Of course, a priority continues to be dissemination and reach, because despite all the changes of the political economy of the media organization, you still have to aggregate large segment of audiences to justify your existence, unless, of course, you depend on donations, international donations, which are, by the way, increasingly scarce in the world. I've published, if you follow my work, I've published a lot about the political economy of independent digital media organizations. And what the conclusions myself and my colleagues and myself have reached is that many of these organizations are not sustainable in time. That as soon as the international aid finishes, those organizations struggle. And we've seen that. We've seen that with huge cuts in USAID and other organizations, EMD and other organizations. How do you perform these functions of journalism in this age of AI when you have when most of the messages is centralized, particularly those relating to society? And how do you deal with the speed of dissemination, that people get out things much more quickly? I mean, one of the things that many Gulf countries, for example, struggle for a variety of reasons was to control all the information that was getting into TikTok. When the rockets were hitting us here in the UAE, how do you control that, and why? And it was very difficult. And of course, because we're still operating in old schemes of controlling the information, rather than having a journalism that is far more dynamic and that can provide a more responsible coverage in those times. So those are things that we see that. And in this context, it's worth asking ourselves again, does AI make journalism irrelevant? Well, this is part of the study. I'm not going to go through this because this is a lot of the data we have. We have looked at over 1,000 stories published in the media here in the region. But basically, and this is some of the feedback from the journalists that we talk about. And to make matters a long story short, yes, journalism continues to be relevant, even in the MENA region, and very relevant, because as my colleague here, Professor Noha Mellor, has pointed out, journalists in the region are really cultural intermediaries, and they have a performative function, which is extremely important in a society that still requires to engage to create public opinion, and in a context that is not the Western context of like liberal democracy, but a context in which a lot of the dialogue and share information and share knowledge takes place. It's still very important in these countries in the MENA region to know that vaccines are good for you. And it's still very important to tell people that we cannot keep destroying the environment in the way we are, regardless of everything. And I think those are things that are important to share, and that they can be shared in a responsible, structural, articulated way by journalists. So in my issues and conclusions, I will say first, this, by the way, is a picture of some of the most best known, some of you who are in the region know that, some of these very famous influencers. But first of all, accuracy and rigor continue to be an unresolved issue in the region. Even if AI gives you the capacity to process data very quickly, and I always make this difference between one of the areas I look at is statistics and data, and of course you can process the data very quickly with AI, but if you don't have the ability to interpret that and contextualize that and make it accessible to your audiences, you're doing nothing. But the problem is that if you don't have an audience that is capable of absorbing your interpretation and incorporating that into their daily life, they cannot make that information relevant, and therefore it's not that. And then you hit a brick wall into your ability of journalism to connecting people and their function of connecting people. Credibility and AI continues to be an issue. I mean, AI doesn't solve that issue. On the contrary, in some cases, it's aggravated. The other day I had a group of students doing we have a radio station here in Chile, so they were doing a series of podcasts using Monica. It's a software, an AI software that does, and they produce this. Oh, look, professor, we do this podcast. I say, yeah, but everything in the podcast, there's not a real voice. Journalism is also about reality. not just about truth and objective truth like the US school says. It's also about reality. And reality can be justice. It doesn't have to be objective reality. In fact, objective reality can hinder your ability to tell the reality. When journalists in the United States and Europe refuse to talk about poverty as a structural problem and just talk about the manifestations of poverty, but not the causes, because they say if we talk about class, if we talk about inequalities, we're being ideologically present. It says when you do that, you hinder the ability of journalism to communicate reality. Big because this obsession, this Western obsession with notions like objectivity. So in a professional, these issues that are also present, by the way, in the West are more difficult to answer and address in a context as we have. So in function is AI defines the nature. One of the problems I see with AI is that it defines the nature of human communication in terms of cybernetics. And if anybody who knows about history of communication, since the classical school, Harold Laswell, Robert Merton, the idea was precisely to turn communication into a mathematical cybernetic form. And we're back to that. All these people, Elon Musk, all these people from the eye of these techno oligarchs, they basically are trying to push communication not as a humanistic and critical function of the human being, but as a cybernetic procedure that can be controlled to algorithms. And that's, Cathy O'Neil in her work, Weapons of Mass Destruction, which basically pointed out the issues about how algorithms are creating new agendas that are not really relevant to the normal people. And so the problem is not really about the production. And I think one of the biggest mistakes that many communication schools, journalism schools are making is that we're too obsessed with production, what goes out. And that's not the problem. The problem is what is not coming in. When I have a student who can graduate from a degree without reading a single book in 4 years of degree, that is the problem. Not the problem
Yes.
of the skills they have to process. It's when they haven't not read a single book in their whole 4 years. That is the real challenge we have. Because literacy and the ability to read is not solved by AI. In fact, it's aggravated by AI. I strongly recommend a book. I managed to read the draft of the book because I know the journalist James Marriott, The New Dark Ages, is a fantastic book coming out this year, and it's about how the collapse of literacy rate. We're talking about now 60% less people are reading in the United States than they were reading 10 years ago. And let's not even talk about here with one of the biggest problems I have is making sure that the literacy in Arabic of my students keep maintaining. And we're trying to do a lot of effort, but it's very difficult when you are finding students. And it was funny the other day, one of my students came in because I was making, just to conclude.
Yes, to conclude.
I was telling my student to read a particular book, and she was complaining that she didn't have time. And I said, show me your phone. And she had 16 hours of screen times. And I said, when do you sleep? Of course you can't read, you're not reading. And I think that's the biggest challenge that I would say. Finally, just something that has nothing to do, but I will ask you all to disseminate. We have this wonderful initiative in the University of Sharia to promote a film festival in Gaza and the West Bank, and we're really promoting this. We're providing prizes to the students. If you go to my LinkedIn page, please, the announcement is there, the conditions are there. If you have friends in Gaza and West Bank, please tell them between the ages of 18 and 30 to participate. And next year we will do whole workshops, etc., to rebuild, because nations are rebuilt with creativity and imagination. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Hero, for this last intervention. But it's really very interesting what we listened, and I would like it's a bit different from what we expected, and even when we talk about AI, because everyone is talking about AI in every field and all journalists use AI and we do that. Okay, it's the era of AI, but you are right. We have also to focus on other things that makes also students and journalists and young journalists use the journalism right. And I see your approach underlines this importance of equipping the next generation not only with technical skills but also with a critical thinking and ethical awareness. So I see many claps, I see many people, and I would like really your comments, your questions for all the speakers, and even if you want to share your experience or your thoughts. So thank you so much. So you can raise your hands, and if you have comments. We have here researchers, also journalists, and from this webinar, let's maybe talk about the webinar. We wanted this structure to talk a bit about the organizations. We have, for example, Arij. We have also as Anna's trainer, and after that also we are talking about universities like the University of Sharjah and also the University of the American University in Cairo. So maybe we have here students, or we have even the speakers. You are also welcome to express your feedback, even for those. Okay, yes, Linda, yes, you are right. You are here, you
Hello,
can.
everyone. So my name is Ermelinda Canucci. I'm a researcher at the University of Technology Nuremberg, currently working on the issue of AI governance from the political sides aspect. So thank you very much to all participants. I heard with great interest all your presentations, and it was very informative, especially for someone who is not situated in the region. My comment, maybe also framed as a question, would be related to the question, to the let's say big issue of having embedded ideologies in large language models. So we know now that different types of large language models also are actually some embedded ideology issues in them. So they're politically inclined, so to speak. There are papers on this topic and a research being done where they say that, for example, things like ChatGPT, especially in the beginning, had, let's say, a more liberal to right or a wing approach, but then somehow it went and centralized. The same goes also for other types of LLMs. So, for example, DeepSeek, the one which is introduced by China, is also having some embedded ideology issues in them. So we know now that journalists use massively large language models, not only the Americans versions, but also the Chinese version, some also in the Arabic version. So we know that there is this type of situation. I want to ask, and Professor I'm sorry, Professor Yarrow also mentioned the idea that unfortunately in journalism, for some, not maybe for all of them, but also for young journalism, this issue of AI literacy. So they don't really know the technology that they are using, how this technology is working, what are the algorithms behind it. We don't have an algorithm transparency. In fact, we don't know how these algorithms are done. The engineers, of course, are not very well versed in societal matters because they are technical people. They are not supposed to be trained in societal matters, unfortunately, which means that they either produce biases that they have in them when they design algorithms, or either they take for granted the biases that their bosses give to them, so to speak. So I want to bring up a bit the attention of how can we tackle this issue? How can we make people aware that using specific LLMs could also be producing very specific and different, let's say, approaches to, I don't know, the way that you can use it in journalism, on a specific topic, so to speak, so which will also perpetuate disinformation or misinformation.
Okay, maybe Saja or Jairo or Anas, if you want to reply, answer. Yes, go ahead, Jairo.
Okay, cool. Do you want me or no?
Yeah.
Okay. So first of all, I'm a techie, so I love the picture you have there of Star Trek.
Thank you. Live long and prosper.
Okay. So regarding the questions, again, the problem is not just the technical skills to know how to use AI, because that's skill sets, is the critical ability to contextualize the knowledge. Now, this is not a new problem. Of course, all these algorithms and first of all, let's not, I don't know, I don't want to use the word artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence doesn't exist. The word artificial intelligence, no engineer or person who actually knows about this uses the term artificial intelligence. We use it because it's fancy, and the journals publish our work. I use it because it's fancy. But there's no such thing as artificial intelligence. It's machine learning. Okay? Machine learning. That's the point. And this is a set of skills. And it's not a new problem. Back in the early 20th century, the first statistical formulas, Pearson, Kendall, were developed by the University College London by people who were the founders of the eugenic schools. I don't know if you're familiar with the eugenicism, but it's the school that says that white people are superior than people of other races, and therefore these statistics were actually developed to prove that the British Empire was superior and had the right to conquer and civilize the rest of us in the global south. And that premise has not changed. If you just saw the manifesto of Palantir, the new manifesto, I don't know if you follow it in the news this week, the idea of creating algorithms to control communication is not new. Now, that doesn't mean the statistics are not useful or that these models of machine learning are not useful, but they had a purpose. And the most important thing to teach is not so much the skills to use them, because that's relatively easy, is the ability to interpret and contextualize what they get out of them. And we cannot teach that unless their input in the students, unless the students in their brains and the journalism in the brain have the capacity to contextualize things and say, oh, this has this historical, political, and present meaning. And this number, this data, this issue has a history, has a trace. When somebody tells me about a particular issue, I have the particular to interpret. I think one of the main issues that we have here is the diminishing capacity of critical thinking. And that is directly correlated to the diminishing literacy rates. And that's, to me, is a big issue. I might seem old-fashioned, but it's not. There's enough evidence to substantiate what I'm saying, and I think this is the biggest challenge. We can teach the journalists to become absolutely experts in the use of different AI tools. But if the people who are reading you do not understand what they're reading, or they don't read it in the first place, or they don't consume it in the first place, we are in the trouble. And I think that's the challenge. How we solve that is we have to work in literacy. We have to improve our literacy, the standards, critical thinking and literacy in the region. And that is only through, reading is in the past, reading was a pleasure, but it still was necessary. And what has happened now is everybody wants to do things that produces pleasure, and it's much more pleasurable to swap through TikTok for hours and hours than to actually take a book. So we're not getting there, but still, can we convert reading as in the same way? Nobody likes, at least I hate doing exercise. I hate going to the gym. I hate doing walks, but I still do it because it's necessary. So how we get there, that's the challenge. And I think that's the solution too, to make sure that people engage again in reading and interpreting the information they consume, and the journalists create agendas and content that does that.
Thank you so much, Hero. We have also two other questions in the chat. We have the PC. I don't know who is. Why are questions regarding professional identity in the age of AI more difficult to resolve in non-Western journalism environments? I don't know if Anas or Saja or Hiro or Ahmed Asmat want to answer, and if you want to answer, yes. Mm-hmm. Or Hiro, of course.
Well, that was in my presentation, so I think that's coming. Of course, because I wrote this book a few years ago called "Foreign Aid and Journalism: A Mouthpiece for Truth," and I highlighted the main thesis of that book was that journalism, in the way that it's sold, was a creation of the Cold War. So basically, what happened in 1948, 47, Harry S. Truman closed the Office of Propaganda that had existed in the war. And somebody came and said, why are you closing this? This has been so helpful. And because this is the process of decolonization, the United States were expanding in Asia and Latin America and other places. And he said, we don't need it. What we need to do is to promote our model of journalism. And if we get all the journalists in the world to speak in the same way that our journalists in the US speak, then they're going to speak about free market, and they're going to talk about free market of ideas, and they're going to talk about capitalism, and they're going to talk about commerce and exchange. And the ideas that we want to promote are going to be there, disseminated by them in much more legitimate ways than if we use traditional propaganda. In the Arab world, we find that if this has been the model, the threshold through which we are measured as journalists in the region, therefore, if I'm not objective, and if I don't talk about these things in this way, I'm not considered journalist. And that only true journalism is the way that is practiced through the West. So that leaves the MENA region and the Mediterranean with a fundamental question: is what is journalism about in this region? I mean, there has been some of our colleagues here in another university doing a great job trying to explain what journalism is in the region. I mean, do we realize there's not a single comprehensive encyclopedia or book about the history of journalism in the Arab world? There's not. Nobody has written that either in Arabic or in English. There's not a single book about the history of Arab journalism in the region. Nobody has done that, by the way. I would love to appoint a professor of journalism history here, in my own university. Somebody can find me one, but I haven't found it. And that's, so what is our identity? What is the identity of journalism? Are we supposed to do the type of journalism of Reuters or BBC? Okay, or are we going to do our own stuff in a certain way, or do we pan to journalism that does propaganda, or is that what we are about? I mean, that discussion is a serious discussion that we need to have in the region, and it's a discussion that needs to be defined not by external parameters imposed upon the region, but by the realities that we confront. What is about? What does justify?
If you can just allow me to say that in the last few years, this actually discussion has started, specifically with the loss of trust in Western media in the region after the genocide in Gaza and what's happening now. I think we have now this discussion on what is our identity when it comes to journalism and what we should provide to our audience and how we should make it and what we should change actually. No, we don't want to do like Reuters and AFP and we have our own priorities in the region that we want to focus on. But answering the question, actually there are a lot of factors that play a role in that. We have in the region weaker institutional protections and norms. A lot of media organizations also are unfortunately controlled by states, by governments. and we have very few independent media working in the region. In addition, of course, to that, there is clearly inequality in languages in the AI systems. It's mostly about English, always about English. We have lower quality outputs in Arabic, for example. We have fewer tools in Arabic for fact checking, for automation, etc. Of course, we have more risks, and with the instability in the region and the increase of information disorder, and now with AI and deepfakes and etc., this is becoming harder. And of course, we cannot miss that in the region we work in very complicated environments. We have high risks, harassment, legal consequences, killing of journalists, violence. So AI now is coming and is complicating our work as journalists more and more. So, and we need to think about AI while we have a full list of challenges and priorities that we need to work on. So where is AI in this list? Actually, it's not there when we are facing killing and threats and all of that. It's like still not a priority for a lot of media organizations and journalists in the region. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Saja, and also maybe we will finish with the last question of Abdelkader, and please, it's for you, and in 2 words about AI and migration governance in Europe, what the impact of these technologies on border security aims with the safeguards from fundamental human rights and transparency. In 2 words, maybe we can answer, Hairo. It's for you.
Okay. Sorry, can you repeat the question? I didn't get it properly.
Okay, you find it in the chat. Okay, about AI and migration governance in Europe, what the impact of these technologies on border security aims with the safeguards from fundamental human rights and transparency.
Well, the question is depends who use it and who's used it and who that's it. I mean, who use it. If it's going to be used by particular governments, populist governments in Europe to control the access and to allow children to die in the coast of Greece or Italy or Spain, then that's going to be defining how these technologies will run. If you're going to use these technologies to assess potential vulnerable communities and address these vulnerabilities before they happen, then that's a different news. Technologies are never neutral. They are defined by the uses that we give them. I have a class called in one of my classes I talk about social created reality. And I showed to my students, I'm originally from South America, and I showed to the students a pen, and I say, what's the name of this pen? And what do you call a pen? Because we use it to write, they say. Well, in the prison of Brazil in Sao Paulo, they call it chuzo. And chuzo means knife, because nobody uses it to write. It's a defense or attack weapon. So context and use defines this technology. This is why I'm so concerned and so vigilant about this notion, this techno-deterministic tendency that technology will solve our problems. No, technology will not solve our problems. Technology only solves our problems if there's a political will and a group of people who actually appropriate that technology to do that, which is not necessarily the case in this case. I remind people that penicillin was invented 40 years before it was actually used and saved people, because they took 40 years to disseminate penicillin across the world. Even today, we have the capacity to prevent malaria. Nevertheless, malaria continues to be the main cause of death in the third world. So technologies are there, but they're not going to solve it. This is why my presentation started with this. We have the resources and the capacity to solve most of the problems of humanity. It's just we don't want to do it. We prefer to launch wars and commit genocides in places on the planet rather than save life. That's it is. It's not naive. It's the reality.
Thank you so much. We just finished with this wonderful discussion, and I would like to thank every one of you. I would like to thank Anas. I would like to thank Saja, Ahmed, and also Hero for this presentations. This webinar was for exploring AI in journalism and how we use it, maybe how we want to make it in our strategies or in our also classes and also our courses. This is very important from professional overview and also from academic overview. So maybe I would like to give the floor for Linda, is our chair in the network, for the closure. Linda, if you have any word to say.
Thank you very much, Fateh, for the organization of this event. It was very interesting. Again, also from the other side of the Mediterranean, it seems that the issues that people in journalism, especially when it comes to the usage of AI, share are not very different, although with specific of their cultural and also social context. But it seems that the topic of usage of AI, especially large language models, but of course also questions of generative AI, such as image production or any type of generative AI subfields, will be in the agenda for the coming years, it seems to me. And I'm very happy that there are people who are looking in this type of issues, who are aware not only from academia, but also from the civil society, that this is something that we have to address now rather than later, before everything somehow influences our life in an irreversible way.
Thank you so much. If you can share with us your presentation, we are so happy. Maybe you can also send it to everyone who is here. Maybe you can send me your emails for those who wants the presentation. I will write it here for everyone who wants. Just send me an email, and I will also send you the presentation. I would like to thank you. I would like to thank everyone, and looking forward to have other webinars and maybe workshops, other things together. We are all open to collaborations and also to discuss this further. Thank you so much, and have a nice day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
I'm just sending the presentation.
Yes, I think I have to send the presentation. I just want to. Maybe you can also send it via email after.
Yes, yeah, it's okay.
Yes, thank you so much. Really, it's very interesting, and I would just copying paste all the.
Okay, no, I seem. Here it is. I'm sending it to you now in the chat.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
In the chat or via email?
Also, and the email, your email is Zania, right? No. Huh?
No. Fatin, I send you send me an email.
Fatin.